Well, equal rights for everyone, including people with a handicap. That is what I'm fighting for. Because, well, I have a handicap myself. I'm guessing my wheelchair kind of gives it away. And I know what you are thinking. You're thinking, ah, cute girl in a wheelchair, what a pity. Well, don't. Don't pity me. It's like my husband always says, don't pity her, she's just lazy. And he knows. Because he's been married to me for 8 years. And he's got a point. I'm not a really good housewife. I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't do the groceries, I don't walk the dog. I do have some other talents and skills that are very handy for a marriage. I support him emotionally. But overall, it's better to pity him. But he knows how to handle me. He gives me orders. The same orders that he gives our dog. Like, sit. That's an easy one for me, and that's the one that I obey. And my dog doesn't. But that's totally beside the point. The point is not to pity the disabled. Because according to psychologist Barry Schwartz, we have a major advantage on the road to happiness. In his book, The Paradox of Choices, he states that the more choices you have, the more miserable you are. Well, due to my disabilities, I don't have that many choices. I think that in comparison to you, I maybe have like a cup filled with choices, while you have a whole swimming pool filled with it. Barry Schwartz explains that the vast amount of choices that we have in the Western world works paralyzing. So it's not a matter of freedom that we have that many choices. We have so many choices that we don't know what to choose, and so we don't choose at all. And he also says that when we do choose from that vast amount of choices, that we're never happy with the one we choose, because that one, we're always wondering if we couldn't have chosen a better one. Because there are so many choices, we all also think that the choice that we made should be absolutely perfect. So our expectations go sky high. And it's very difficult to fulfill those expectations. And what also happens is that once we made a choice, and it isn't the right one, and we're totally unhappy with that choice, who is to blame? Well, you are, because you made the wrong choice. Well, in my case, it's different. And I'm going to use my husband again to make that point. And it's very good that he isn't in the audience, because it's about his study. When he finished his high school, he had to choose a study, well, as many of us do. Well, as we all know, in the Netherlands, we have like a gazillion choices of study which we can make. So it was very difficult for him to make the right decision, and it's a very important decision. And once you make the decision of what you want to study, then you can also choose in what city you want to study. So, well, it took him a long time, and at last he chose pharmacy in Utrecht. And he started this study, and he started to wonder, is this the right one? Is this the right study for me? Isn't there more? And after 2 years, he finally decided that he didn't like it. So he switched his studies. And even now, this happened about 10 years ago, it still bugs him that he wasted those 2 years on a study which he didn't like. Well, and who is to blame? He is stupid. So, in my case, I had to switch studies as well, because, well, my walking deteriorated. Well, that's not something that you should be happy about, but swat. But I had to make had to choose a different study. So my only criterion for to choose the new study was that it had to be in walking distance. Well, at the moment I was living in the city center of Leiden, so that was an easy one. From my bedroom window I could see the Faculty of Law, and in a 5-minute walk there were the languages and art history. So I had 3 choices. Well, it was not very difficult and it took me a day because I don't like the law. Well, I do like the law, but I don't like studying the law. So that one didn't make it. I do like the languages, but I liked art history better. So art history it was. And from day one, it fulfilled my expectations because my expectations was that it was a 5-minute walk. Well, and it was. So I was very happy with my new studies. And yet I had another advantage because it was even better than I expected because I also liked the classes. Happy, happy, happy. Yeah. Okay. And one other important thing to me is that in the worst case scenario, if I hadn't liked the study, the art history, and I had to quit it, who was to blame? Correct, my disease, not me. So, okay, that was the point with the choices and that I'm happier. Well, statistically, 10% of the people have a disability. Well, there's 100 of you in this audience. To be completely fair, statistically, 10 of you are just as happy as I am. But overall, I am happier than you are. So, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Still, I'm not happy about everything. And I'm not totally satisfied with my cup filled with choices. It's not that I would like to have the swimming pool filled with it, but maybe something more like a bucket. A bucket filled with choices. That would be better. Well, the thing standing in the way of me and my bucket is society. The main problem is that society, as in you all, think of people with disabilities to be people that should be taken care of. And that is correct. I do need some care. But to be able to participate in society, I also need equal rights. Many people are convinced that there isn't any problem because everyone has the same basic rights. But day-to-day practice is very different. Of course, I am also entitled to work, to public transportation, to education, to go out for entertainment, and to participate in sport. However, my need to use a wheelchair prevents me from traveling by train and bus. And being a student with a shortage of energy, because, well, that's the handicap that you don't see, I have a total lack of energy most of the time. But as a student with a shortage of energy, they try to refer me to the Open University. And is it still working? No. Yeah? Okay. Then I'm...
Hallo? Nee. Ja.
Okay. I thought the time was up. But, okay, well, as an employee, I do need adaptations in the workplace. The problem is that I can't turn my rights into reality. The best way to illustrate that is with an example with public transport. I mean, imagine that we are at the train station and I am there in my wheelchair and you are there as well, waiting for the train to come. And the train is entering the station, it's the doors open, and you get in, and I can't. We have the same rights, but I can't get in the train. Okay, doors closing, train leaves, I'm still at the station. With all my rights. The thing is that for me, there needs to be an extra effort to make sure that I can execute my rights. In this example, it's the ramp, so that I can get in the train. Okay, now I lost it a bit. Okay, so it's important that we have enforceable rights, because at the moment I'm depending on the goodwill of others, on favors. Well, I do like favors. I like favors a lot. You can do me favors all the time, but I don't like to be dependent on them. Well, moreover, quite a lot of people think of people with a disability to be passive, needy, useless, that they are not very smart, that they are hardly attractive, and that their communication skills are below average. Well, poor me, poor us. With such a prejudiced attitude, it's only natural that we should be taken care of. I know that in a society with a better perception on disability, I will be less handicapped. At the moment, in the streets, I get 3 types of reactions. I have the people that look away because they don't know how to react. You have the people that, oh yes, the ones that are going to tell me all their flaws and all their little pains. It's the one you usually encounter at the bus stop. The old ladies telling you about their bad back. I get that all the time. And you have the ones that starting to talk to the ones pushing the wheelchair and pat me on the head. Well, none of these reactions is equal. And the problem with that is that if you don't see me as equal, if you don't see me as, for example, as a co-worker, then you're never going to hire me. When you're an architect and you never think of people with disabilities to be people that want to go out or want to go visit their friends, then you're never going to build an accessible building. So, at the moment, unequal opportunities and an inadequate legal status fully stands in the way of adequate participation. Well, changing this requires another way of thinking. Enforceable rights instead of caring for the pitiful handicapped. So, a change of paradigm. And that's what I'm asking for. And that's why I created Lekker Stuk. Lekker Stuk is besides very untranslatable in English. I tried, I came up with something like blissfully damaged or broken licious, but it doesn't have the same ring to it as in Dutch at all. So I'm going to stay with the Dutch one. Lekker Stuk is a movement of young people with and without a handicap. We are lekker. And we are stuk again. And we need Holland to be a country where you can truly be lekker stuk. Our approach is always serious and light-heeled at the same time, aiming at the general public through media, through radio spots and short films, always with humor, never complaining, and always portraying the better society that is within reach. What Lekker Stuk needs is Holland to be a country where they don't leave you behind because you have a disability, where you have equal opportunities to get a job and to make career regardless if you have a handicap or illness, where you can choose your own education without restrictions, and where you can go out with friends and family without having to wonder if facilities are going to be accessible, where your income isn't primarily based on the fact if you have a disability or not, where you have open-ended chances to make a contribution to society, where people with disabilities have an equal rights and the possibility to enforce these rights, so no favors, but enforceable rights. And well, it will be a country where you can, where people with disabilities are integrated into society and not separate on the fringe group. In short, the Netherlands will be a country where you may be lekker stuk. Well, changing a paradigm isn't easy, and I need to make a start somewhere. So I'm here tonight. It's a good place, good people. I need you to think different about this disability, and I need you to spread the word. Well, that's it.